I've been following the news that's come out across, various Catholic news outlets now about the miracle in Guadalajara. We still await the church's opinion on it. They haven't said anything, but it's been widely reported now about the beating heart of Christ in the Eucharist that many people saw in a small parish just outside of Guadalajara in Mexico. And you can see it in that video, the rhythm of the heart, Christ's heart that is beating. Whether it is true or not, whether this is a real miracle, and let's hope it is, let's hope that somebody hasn't taken advantage of the faithful in some way to manipulate. But let's hope that this is a true miracle. I've always seen the Eucharist as the beating heart of Christ. That's how the Eucharist appears to me. Christ just didn't give us his body, he gave us his love. He gave us his beating heart, the most central, the most precious thing. I mean, it's quite incredible what Christ is giving us. If you think about what many pagans did in Mexico or in other parts of Latin America when they were offering human sacrifices, the thing that they went for during this pagan ritual was the heart. For some reason, that was what they were taking from their victims. And Christ is freely giving us this great gift. And I know many people might, looking at this video, and if you're not Catholic, you might think us Catholics have gone mad in how we view the Eucharist. But there's a beautiful tradition of the Sacred Heart, Christ coming to revealing himself in France in Paray-le-Monial to a nun, giving us his Sacred Heart, the love that Christ has for humanity. I was out walking this evening, and I met some Protestants who were giving out leaflets. I think I have one here. Calvary. The Calvary, the place of peace and pardon. And I'm always amazed at those who pick up the gospel and are so enthralled with Christ's words in the gospel, with the Bible. They're so enthralled. They will go out and they will print literature and stand on the street and they will give it to us. We have received his heart. Us Catholics have received the heart of Christ in the Eucharist. We've received the body, blood, soul, divinity, and I would say love of Christ in the Eucharist. Everything that Christ wants to offer us, we've received in the Eucharist. And this should be transforming, not just for our personal life, but for society, for the world. Do we really believe that Christ is present in the Eucharist? Do we Catholics really believe in the body, blood, soul, and divinity and love of Christ, second person of the Holy Trinity? Yesterday evening, I gathered with a group of friends somewhere and we had Mass with a really good priest. And after communion, it was like my heart was kind of split in two. I was just thinking, oh my God, this is the beating heart of Christ coming to me. And it was like afterwards, I felt like I had a heart transplant, like some mystical heart transplant, the beating heart of Christ, dying to transform souls, dying to bring us to the way, the truth, and the life. Because Christ literally died for that. And I know some people might think, oh, Robert, you've gone berserk. What are you smoking or something like that? What are you talking about? But this is amazing. It is amazing, the Eucharist. It is truly so profound when you meditate on it. And, I'm listening to different people, how different people have journeyed through the pandemic. For me, the pandemic was an amazing time of prayer, of encountering Christ, of praying with other people. I've never felt so alive in the last 2 to 3 years. What Christ is offering us. And I suppose I'm seeing so many men that I know on fire with the love that Christ is offering us in the Eucharist. It's really amazing when you allow yourself to be captivated by the graces that Christ is offering, when you allow yourself to use the graces from confession, from the Eucharist, he really starts to take over your heart. It really is. It's like you've had a mystical heart transplant. Slowly, Christ is there talking, conversation starting. It's kind of frustrating. You'd wish you want to do more, but you do what you can where you are. Christ placed me where I am, and I can just do what I can with what I have and help who I can. But you can also renew the Eucharist. There's no amount of money that can be. I heard American bishops are spending I heard something like 20 million or 30 million. You could spend 20 billion, 20 trillion trying to renew the Eucharist. But if you don't have souls that have actually encountered the Eucharist, no amount of money will teach the Eucharist. There's no way you can buy faith in the Eucharist, or no way that you can renew the Eucharist if you haven't souls that have encountered Christ. Really. I challenge people. People might think I'm mad, but that's how I see it. I'm not afraid to say it. Us Catholics believe in the body, blood, soul and divinity and love of Jesus Christ, the second person of the Holy Trinity. He died for us. It was one of the amazing things during the lockdown, during meditation, was to, arrive to Calvary and put out my hand and touch the beating heart of Christ. That's what I've been encountering. And the more I think about it, the more I meditate on it, I just think, where is Christ leading us? He's leading us to mission. He's leading us to, I don't know. It's quite, I looked around the room yesterday where we were with a lot of good friends of mine, so many people that love the Eucharist. We all knelt and received in the tongue. We love the Eucharist. Really has a profound effect. So, I'm setting the challenge out there, because when I saw that video last week about the beating heart, that's how I've always I've always said the beating heart of the Eucharist. It's like I've said it in other videos, and I'm looking at Christ, it's like the beating heart of Christ there in the Eucharist. Why wouldn't his heart be beating? And people are asking, why are there so many miracles occurring in the Novus Order? Well, ask yourselves, why wouldn't Christ want to show us when we don't believe? 70% of Catholics don't believe in the Eucharist, according to the Pew Research. We had that famous talk that Bishop Barron gave to 5,000 people at the end of February 2020, just before the lockdown. That famous speech, beautiful speech on the Eucharist. And within the space of 1 or 2 months, churches were locked. He was talking about the Eucharist as, essential to our spiritual life, that, we would hit the spiritual wall if we don't have the Eucharist. And yet we were so quick to lose faith in the power of the Eucharist to nourish souls. Do we really believe? That's my question. You can spend millions, tens of millions on programs trying to renew the Eucharist. But at the end of the day, if you can't capture people's hearts, if people are not able to experience that mystical heart transplant as I feel it is, then I don't know where to go with this. And that's why I speak so much of reverence. We have to teach our kids that this is precious to us. I want to leave one thing to my kids, which is my faith. I want them to encounter the beating heart of Christ in their lives. This is Christ, the way, the truth, and the life. The Christ that's challenging us, challenging the world, challenging the Catholic Church. I don't know what's coming. You kind of sense that you're just before a storm at the moment in the church. You're kind of sense, okay, it's kind of the peace, but there's something coming. And many people have said the same thing. Why is Christ doing these things now at the moment? Why is Christ captivating and urging us to return to the Eucharist like never before, in my opinion? Think. We need Christ more than anything now in the church. We need to return to reverence. We need to direct the church to Christ. Someday, the Roman Catholic Church will orient itself. Will return ad orientem, to the east. We will look to where Christ rose from again. We will return. It will happen. We will realize the mistake we did in, trying to please, trying to entertain people at Mass, which hasn't engaged the hearts of people. It simply hasn't. Not in the West. Not in Europe. It's time to return to Christ. It's time to say, your sacrifice, Christ, is the center of our worship. We worship your sacrifice to the Father. We worship your presence. We turn ourselves to you. Priests will pray the Mass again, and they won't, and they will lead us in prayer. This will happen someday. Someday there will be a great return to the Eucharist. The Church will realize the madness that has happened. If we're not captivated in teaching the next generation the vastness of the Eucharist, we have lost it in the Church. We really have. And Christ is moving. He's moving hearts. He certainly is. I've seen it. There's something happening. There are priests on fire. I mean, the priest yesterday, I wish I could say his name, but out of respect, I for the moment, but someday I will. He was just on fire. Passionate. This is a priest that we know for a long time. Calling us back to the Eucharist. He knows who Christ is. He wants the Holy Spirit to help us to, renew the Church. And this is something that no amount of money that any bishops' conference can ever spend can do. You have to. This has to be a gift to the Church that we have to share with Catholics. If we don't show our love for the Eucharist, not just in words, but in how we kneel, how we reverence, how we expect the Eucharist, how we prepare for Eucharist, how we dress an altar, how we prepare vestments for the priest, how we buy a chalice that is consecrated, that uses the most precious gifts that we can give to Christ. If Irish people in an era far more impoverished than now were giving wedding rings and gold and bits and pieces to make chalices and monstrances, what happened to Ireland? What happened to Irish Catholicism? We buy wedding rings that are maybe 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. Nobody would give them today, or would they? Would we give up what is precious for what is more precious? I ask the question. Would we? If we asked for a monstrance today. If a Catholics 50, 60, 70 years ago had that faith, had that love, what happened to Irish Catholics? What happened to Irish priests? That you ran away, you were afraid of the Eucharist. You treated it like medical waste. Seriously. It was like, oh my God, this is going to destroy our community and decimate and infect people. No, we have to... think about it, guys. And when I say this, because we see traditional communities, I made a video there, questioning traditional, but I saw traditional communities treat with respect, and they get it right. And their communities haven't died off and been extinguished in the last 2 years. And they weren't masked up. They never wore masks giving out communion. Never. And those receiving communion didn't wear masks either. And we're all still there. The priest didn't die off, and neither did the faithful. Where's our faith in the Eucharist? So, I'm very, very passionate about this, as you can see, for a reason. If we don't have the Eucharist, where are we going? We wonder why our families don't believe, our children struggle to believe. We don't show witness. No, in Ireland, certainly not. We don't witness the faith in the Eucharist. Bishops, priests, seminarians, you all know this. You're looking around your emptying churches and you're wondering, how can we get people back? If people knew Christ was there, they would come back. If people had their hearts captivated by Christ, they would come back. I would never miss Mass. It's the encounter with Christ. If there's a mass on some evening, I happily go to it. Beautiful mass yesterday. Priest, I think it must have lasted 2 hours, because the priest gave us an amazing conference homily. It was just on fire, and time stands still when you're captivated by Christ. You don't think about time. It's like you're in heaven. It's kind of a glimpse of heaven. That's what the Eucharist is. Do we talk about why are there not more voices on YouTube doing this, renewing the Eucharist, sharing their experiences of their encounter with Christ? Where are the other souls around the world who walked to Calvary and touched the heart of Christ? There has to be. They are there. They have to be there. Talk about it. Share the faith. Show the greatness of the Eucharist. Priests renew the Eucharist. Bishops renew the Eucharist. Cardinals, even the Pope maybe someday will listen. Change in the church comes from the top down. And that's the plea. It's not, the faith is not just a dialogue. It's not, it's so much more. It captivates our whole being, our whole heart, our senses, our soul. It digs so deep. I don't know. That's how I see it anyway. Maybe I'm mad. Maybe I'm the fool. People looking at me. Maybe Robert Nugent, the fool on YouTube. Who knows? I have no idea. I just share what I experience. And if you can relate with this, then share that experience with others. Renew the Eucharist. Christ. Christ is desperately crying in the church to renew the Eucharist. Why wouldn't his heart beat? Why wouldn't it? There's something going on there. It's quite incredible. But look, we can do it. God bless. Take care. Pray for the church. Pray for the Pope in these difficult times. And we need to be one. We need to be one church, never divided. There's many things that we have to do. Learn from what is good, true and beautiful, and what traditional Catholics are showing us is good, true and beautiful. The reverence, the silence, that encounter with Christ. It's always helped me. God bless. Take care. Bye bye.